everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Summer of Heroes. We've been talking about this for a while. It is the reprisal of Michael Keaton. Not Kitten. I play in later. Morning, boys. Oh, man. Guys, we are doing Batman Returns this week. We're ranking all of our Batman movies, 1 through 8, all the standalones, starting with Batman 66, ending with The Dark Knight Returns. But guys, before we get there, this is Batman Returns, and we are going to have some fun. First, we get into everything. Quick introductions. What'd I do?
You kind of say Dark Knight Returns. It's actually Dark Knight Rises, but that's okay.
I say it every episode so far. Rises.
The Dark Knight Returns. Tyler, you're consistent.
To my left, it's Mr. Chris Rivers.
Hi, everybody.
And to my right is a thespian himself, Jack Yetzko.
What you call
Hello.
him?
The thespian.
Thespian.
Oh.
Funny how this is all going to relate to what we're going to talk about in Batman Returns. Anyway.
Before we get into this movie, Chris, let's break down some trivia and some numbers. How much money did this movie make?
Wait a second. I got to tell you when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out June 19th, 1992.
As we're recording this was math.
Okay.
We saw last episode. I can't do it. You said 92, right?
92.
Alexa, what is
That was 26 years
2018
ago.
minus 1992?
26.
This is going to be on.
18 minus 1,992 equals 26.
Chris nailed it. Way to go. Beat the computer. So,
Starting tomorrow, after we're recording it on June 18th, tomorrow will be its 26th, you said? 27th?
26.
I'm going to knock you in the head.
I had a brain fart, I'm sorry.
So 26. So how many years after was it? It would be 4 years after the previous movie, 89.
3 years.
Jesus Christ.
It says 33 years later in the movie,
He's
too.
not in this movie. Virtually everybody else was.
Including Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
It would make a great penguin.
You'd make a great penguin.
I just remember our discussion in Batman 66. You know, Danny DeVito would be a good penguin.
Man. I'm never going to live that one down.
No, never. And now it's on the internet for all eternity.
Even during our talk with Schumacher, we'll mention Danny DeVito somehow, some way.
So this film had a budget of $80 million. So
Okay.
Wow.
double, a little more than double what the previous film was given. Its box office was $266.8 million. So it underperformed.
Oh.
As far as last times.
Yeah, the Batman did $411.3 million.
Yeah.
This one $266.8 and
Okay.
had over double the budget.
Mm.
So not
Well,
as
I wonder
good.
why.
And also 126 minutes.
Oh, we'll get there. Very good reasons.
Now, we don't have a lot of trivia on this one.
Yeah, there was a
lot
lot
of
of the
it
same
was-
trivia was from last week as well.
Yeah, so this was the first film, a little bit of history here. It was the first film ever made in Dolby Digital.
Really? Ever?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Thought it
No
was better.
kidding.
No kidding. Wow.
So as we know, Michelle Pfeiffer
Mm-hmm.
is in this movie. Thank you, Jesus. Each cat suit cost $1,000.
What?
Now, okay, each Catwoman costume, but how many Catwoman costumes were there? That's
60. She went through 60,000
$60,000.
How do you
Just
go
for
through
the cat
60 cat suits?
So she had to be vacuum sealed into the cat suit
Uh-huh.
yeah, I
before
noticed.
each scene.
I noticed.
Yeah.
We all noticed, yeah.
Now, she only had a few minutes of filming before she would start to get lightheaded and pass out because it was so tight.
Oh my
Right.
god, yeah.
So they would get a few minutes of filming, then they'd have to cut her out of it,
Get a new suit.
get a new suit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson advised Danny DeVito to accept the role of the Penguin.
Really?
Glad he did. That's kind of crazy, though.
Yeah, well, he had
The
such
irony.
fun,
Yeah.
and it had been such a success. He was like, yeah.
You make sure you get the percentage, not just the dollar amount.
Yeah.
I don't know if he listened to him on that,
Yeah.
but it set a 3-day record at the time, raking in $47.7 million.
Wow.
What's the record now for the weekend?
Whatever Infinity War did.
Yeah, Jesus.
It
I
was
would-
like in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
We'll get to that eventually, probably, maybe.
Burgess Meredith was asked to play the Penguin's father in the film, but he was too ill to do it.
We didn't really see a bunch of the Penguin's father.
Did you pick up on who he was, though?
No.
The guy who played Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Rubens, who also
Yeah.
played the Penguin's father in Gotham.
Really?
Yeah, wow.
Oh, so because
I forgot about that connection.
I didn't see it much because like the only time
He was
that
heavily made up.
like because he was always like staring into the window or something like that, you know. So you didn't like get to see good light.
Yeah, the appearance
No
was very
kidding.
brief for the Cobblepots, yeah.
Now, as we said last week, Batman was filmed in England.
Right.
Right.
This one was filmed in the States, and the set took up more than half of Warner Brothers' entire back lot.
That's crazy. Though.
And the setting kind of had a much more Burton
yeah,
design
it really
to it
did.
now, rather than the gothic horror style that 89 had.
Very
This
snowy.
is more Burton than anything else, because even Burton's definition of gothic is pretty different,
Well, it's
pretty
kinda-
extreme.
That's kind of weird because it came out in June, but it was like around Christmas time was with the setting.
Yeah, and they probably filmed in October, November.
Okay,
That's
so
just
they
because,
probably...
yeah, I mean, because of the theme and everything else too, of what what the whole base of what the movie's supposed to be about. Anyway, but that's an interesting topic to discuss when we get to it.
Right.
So.
Michael Keaton reportedly made $11 million for the film, which at the time
That's still a
that
lot
was-
of money.
That was
Yeah.
massive, you know. Annette Bening was originally cast as Catwoman, not Michelle Pfeiffer, but she had to call Tim Burton up just a few weeks before filming and say, "Hey, I'm pregnant." So, so they reached out to Michelle Pfeiffer,
Okay.
and they were going to pay Annette Bening $1 million to do the role.
Okay.
They paid Michelle Pfeiffer $3 million.
Ooh, that's a slap in the face, though.
Ow.
So, and I don't know if part of that was, hey, we're bringing you in close to filming, and
Oh, yeah.
but Michelle
compensate.
Pfeiffer also she was a bigger name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Face it. Funny note, Batman, they show his boots in this.
Mhm.
They're not actually boots.
They're like just sneakers of some
They're
sort.
They have uppers on them to make them look like boots.
Yeah.
But what they actually were Air Jordan 6s.
No kidding. So he was balling.
Okay. Neat.
The scene with Michelle Pfeiffer putting the bird in her mouth,
Yeah.
that was actually a live bird.
No.
Yeah.
She had to do it
Yep.
multiple takes.
I would
Oh
hope
my
so.
God.
That's terrible. Where's PETA?
Was she injured in the process of
No,
that?
no,
Really?
it wasn't a problem. I mean, it was just
Small Finch, but I mean,
Small,
still,
My
though.
God, I mean, like all the
so Danny DeVito's makeup took 2 hours a day,
Okay, so
Okay.
much like Jack Nicholson's.
like Jack Nicholson's.
Fair.
The Batman costume in this weighed 55 pounds.
Oh, so he actually had to have some muscle for this
Now
one.
Keaton's not a big guy.
No.
no, but they did have
So,
to train him. to an
Assuming
extent.
at 5'9", assuming his regular weight's probably 170,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there. So he's carrying a little less than a third of his body weight.
Wow.
Why would they make it so heavy? Is it? I guess just
It's
the plastic.
It's what it
or-
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
David Bowie was originally offered the role of Max Shrek.
No,
David
kidding.
Bowie. Nice.
That would've been
That
crazy.
would have been. I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
Walken was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Because what we gotta
David
do
Bowie
is
would've
we
worked.
gotta sell the nuclear reactor.
I'll push you out a higher window.
Yeah,
of course.
this time I push you out of a higher window.
And of course, if you're a horror fan, you're not. Max Schreck is a reference to the German actor known best for playing Nosferatu in the 1922 film.
I
Dracula.
thought so. No,
He's a vampire.
Nosferatu. That's the,
Nosferatu.
Gotcha. Okay, vampire.
But yeah, vampire.
we should have a Halloween podcast.
Dracula's,
Yeah,
based, Dracula's based on Nosferatu, basically.
Oh, okay. I'm
No.
with you now.
Nosferatu is kind of the condition which people suffer from, which is the vampirism, or they call it vampire now,
Yeah.
with a Y. Anyway,
But that's
I
it, man.
studied this stuff for a living, guys.
we
What
got-
do you expect?
We got through trivia pretty quickly.
Yeah.
All right,
Plot.
it's time for the plot /
ahead, Jack.
synopsis.
I have now been dubbed official storyteller for this group. Wait till we get Schumacher's films. That's going to be hilarious. Okay, so...
For audio listeners,
we-
I've
what are
turned
we-
my seat around, so I'm facing Jack 100%.
Why are we really?
What's the story?
We're really putting me on the spot here today, aren't we?
Campfire right here at the table.
Got some marshmallows downstairs.
Right.
Jeez. Anyway, so movie begins unlike the first movie where we got a close up of the symbol of Batman, which, you know, as I said in the last episode, Burton has a way of telling us what the movie is going to be focused about just by the simple beginning of these shows alone. Like you look at Mars Attacks, he's
Right.
focusing on the UFOs. Big Fish, he's focusing on the story of the fish. Batman Returns kind of does something a little different. It actually focuses on Penguin, or Oswald Cobblepot. We are witnessing the birth of Oswald Cobblepot, and of course he comes out very deformed, disfigured. I think this is actually Vern Troy's first, one of his handful of movies that he was the baby incarnation
Really?
of Oswald. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. He,
R.I.P.
yeah, Vern Troy was the one that was in the cage to take the the fake
Troyer.
cat. Vern Troy. What?
Troyer.
Troyer? Did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Anywho, so he's the one that takes the fake cat and, you know, destroys it, what have you, and so of course this sends Mr. and Mrs. Cobblepot. We don't really get their names, but we know that they're the Cobblepots, obviously. So it kind of so basically, death of a cat equals being abandoned in Gotham sewer. So because they thought, you know, I don't know exactly how many Christmases Penguin has been with the Cobblepots. Probably he says it in
just that one.
the one he did say it in line. He says he spent his first Christmas with his family and then all the others in the sewer. So after the first Christmas, they think that he's just evil, wicked. Not just that, but he just, you know, they're something horrendously
They were
wrong with
nice
the kid.
enough to leave him in the stroller.
Exactly.
That was
So-
very nice of them.
Yeah.
They want him to freeze to death, you know, in the water.
Yeah. So they're
if
hoping,
we're
they're
to
hoping
commit-
the sewer will take
We're
care
to
of the
commit
rest.
murder, we're going to do it right.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyway.
Moses traveled down the river. And that's it.
Are you
Why not
comparing
Penguin?
Moses to Penguin?
Yeah.
Anyway, this kind of now if they didn't treat Oswald like the way they did in the film, he would probably been a better person. Maybe if they didn't
No.
treat him like an animal. But I don't know. We don't
'Cause
really know.
If he had grown up above ground, the way he would have been treated
Yeah,
would have turned him
it would turn him
into
evil
something
regardless.
evil anyway.
Problem.
Well,
No,
not to an extent.
to an extent. Gotta love Gotham. So, Death of a Cat equals abandoned in Gotham sewers, and now instead of tracing a symbol, we follow the Penguin's trail to his destination, would be the abandoned Gotham Zoo with his new family, the Penguins, and the Red Triangle
Arctic
Circus.
Land.
Arctic Land. Yep. So this, of course, being a sequel, Batman's theme is more epic, more dynamic. So it's
They made all that money. Why not
more
make it bigger and
hunting,
better,
so we're
you know?
making sure that we're like, yo, he is back, he has returned. But here's an interesting question. Keep this in mind as we're talking about this movie. Are we really actually focusing on Batman at this point, or are we focusing on actually the villains in this one because of the way...
Focusing
thought-
on the villains.
I feel
Yeah.
like that was the first one too, though.
Yeah.
So
It
Well,
was more about Joker.
yeah,
yeah, but here's an interesting thing, though. We were focusing on Batman and his character. There was character development for Bruce Wayne and the dynamics
Oh, yeah.
and everything. This one was interesting because it kind of left me feeling I don't know how to feel at the end. But
It lets
we'll
you
talk about that.
feeling Like you don't know how to feel.
It left it
If you
conflicted.
don't know how to feel, how can you feel
Conflicted.
that?
It feels conflicted. Anyway, so now we jump.
Words, Jack.
Conflicted. How about that? Okay. Jump to 33 years later, or we could say about 3 years after the first movie for us, for the audience. So there you go. It's not 34, 33. So it's Christmas time in Gotham, which means everybody's
we
coming together.
Say real quick.
Yeah.
Penguin looks awfully bad for like a 34-year-old.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
He
It's
looks.
the makeup.
Well,
it's
it's.
the teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
like-
were like razor down though.
Yeah.
Like to be carnivorous.
Like what was going on with the mouth? Like the black liquid? Is it like ink? Is it
Yeah, I don't know
blood?
what
Is
that
it
was about.
just bad dental hygiene? What is going on with
I
that?
think it's, I think it's blood, you know, because later at the end of the movie, stay tuned.
Spoiler alert.
He has, it's just like oozing
It's just
out.
oozing.
I think it's
Blood.
his blood. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So
And the suit they had him in, the padding.
Okay.
He's
The onesie that he's
running
in.
around in this onesie most of the film. That's kind of
Oh, the gray thing.
yeah,
That
it's
is
kind of like
not
He
very
is a-
form-fitting.
has a super
Keep him-
wedgie going on.
Not like in Batman 66, he was very debonair despite being a villain, and he
Did you
like
notice he made the same sound he did in '66? Like
Yeah.
occasionally, he's like,
yeah, and it's just creepy and awkward. But I guess that's
Yeah.
Tim Burton for you. He's into
Did
the
we-
creepy and awkward.
Did we ever get like a time lapse between the last Batman movie and this one?
Yes, 3 years.
Oh, so it's
So
3 years.
It's keeping it present with the time. So when Batman
Okay.
was released in 1991, that was when it was trying to say this is
What?
when 1989. Excuse me, Batman 19.
He's
When
pulling
Batman,
on me.
I just explained the last movie not too long ago. Okay, I'm still reeling from that. So when Batman 1989 came out, they were trying to keep it with the timeline with
So we've had Gotham's had 3 years of Batman, and that's why I guess
Yes.
why they made the mention of would have been the most peaceful Gotham's ever been, or
Yes,
something like that.
yes,
Okay.
and also they celebrate this with Christmas, and it's a big event. The families are getting together. There's
Mm-hmm.
peace in Gotham City, and they're doing the
Wouldn't that be
lighting of the tree.
Batmas?
Huh? Batmas?
Batmas?
No.
We're not 1966 anymore.
No, please, let's get away from that. So, they call her the Ice Princess. I've called her Miss Gotham just because of the style, the costuming, and everything, the way she presents herself.
She
It's
had
kind
to
of
be
like
cold.
Boy, was she ditzy.
Yeah.
Huh?
That actress did a very good job of playing ditzy.
Ditzy, yeah. Especially if you see later in the 10 that you see her cues that she
Oh,
only has 3
okay.
sets of instructions. She comes out,
She
presses
can't
the
get 'em
button,
right.
and she can't get it right. So it's
Tree
it's
lights
cute.
up, and I press the button. No, wait.
Yeah, and it's like big bold letters too on the paper. So, all right. So even though the Joker is gone, Batman has officially taken his mantle as Guardian of Gotham City and the Dark Knight and what have you. Now the Penguin has become the new urban legend because we had Batman being the urban legend, but now Penguin is being
Kind of
advertised.
reintroduced, we're introduced with that with the newspaper guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that bit. Alfred steps down off the sidewalk and onto the grating.
Uh huh.
It takes a couple of steps and looks back like,
Here's like the girdle sound that the Penguin makes, or he like sees his flippers. They really are his hands to form like
Yeah.
this, pulled away from the grate.
Yeah.
And he's just, especially with his line, "My dear boy, rubbish is rubbish," and all that. I can't remember exactly. These lines in this movie are not as memorable for me as like the Batman.
some. I mean, Michelle
Some
Pfeiffer,
are.
a couple of her lines.
Yeah.
You know.
But this one, it was kind of hard for me to like recall a lot of like memorable lines. So we are also introduced to Max Schreck, played by the one and only Christopher Walken. We used to know somebody that could actually do a really good impression of Christopher
Brad.
Walken. Yes, I wish he was here. He could do like some of Walken's stuff.
Just
So-
have him read some lines.
Also, the fact that the icon that is used for Shrek Industries, Felix the Cat, may have filed a lawsuit because of his likeness being used. Because it looked like Felix. Because that was like one of the things I remember as a kid sitting. This is the first Batman film I got to see in theaters. I didn't get to see Batman '89 because it came out on VHS at around that time. But this is the first Batman film I got to see ever in a movie theater. So I was watching it and I'm like asking my dad, "Is that Felix the Cat?" And Dad's going, "No, Jack, it's not Felix the Cat." It's like, but it looks like Felix the Cat. So that joke still resides within me to
So
this
you're one
day.
of those that talks during movies.
I ask questions when I
Who
need
was
to.
a kid? All kids ask questions.
Kids ask questions, dude.
You know, it's terrible with me in Marvel movies with Jamie, my wife. I'll sit there and be like, "That's a reference to blah, 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 blah." Oh, okay. No, but for real, this is important.
Speaking of importance, Max proposes his new his legacy, which is to create a power plant for Gotham City.
Even though they have a surplus.
Surplus.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne actually does mention that later in their meeting. So now we're introduced to a new kind of physical evil. When we had the crime boss, the Syndicate, in '89, which was the Mafia, and now we have a new face to the evil now, which is corporations now. Yeah, so
Still no Wayne Enterprises yet.
still no Wayne Enterprises, but we have Max Schreck and Schreck Industries. So there we go. We're also introduced to Selena Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, and unlike the comic book versions of Selena Kyle in this is very doubtful of herself and is filled with depression. She doesn't really hold herself up, but that's
Right.
okay. A big change will come her way shortly.
She's very,
very reserved.
very reserved, very unsure of herself. Self-esteem is not there, especially around men. She seems to always say
She calls herself a
the
corn
wrong
dog.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
calls herself a corn dog.
Of all
random.
things,
Yeah,
stupid
it's very
corn
random.
dog. Why? I don't. I guess
But you know,
that's a term I guess they used in the 90s. I don't know.
I wasn't
Is
born
it?
yet,
No,
so I don't know.
I was a kid.
this
I don't
was
know
just
what's going
something
on.
that
Just something.
Don't make fun of my time!
Yeah, we're 3 films in, and you're still not born yet. So you just sit there and be quiet, you little embryo.
You just sit there and listen.
we're like reminiscing of these times, and Tyler's like, "All right, sounds like fun."
I love the way that they set her character up.
Yeah,
Not only in the like she says she has a suggestion
yeah.
in the meeting.
And then everybody just like slowly turns in their chairs to
And then-
stare at her.
Immediately she's doubting herself.
Yep.
Well, more like a question.
Yeah.
And then
Shrek.
Walken kind of dismisses her.
Apparently, we haven't properly housebroken Miss Kyle. You know,
The
establishing her.
housebroken line. About
Yeah, establishing the not only the animalistic but sexist part of the whole
Right.
you know
Yeah.
trade
And
there.
then even when she returns to her apartment and honey, I'm home.
Oh yeah. I forgot I'm not married.
Yeah.
And she's
so
that's
depressing.
it's very sad and
And
it's
her
very,
mom's always calling her.
Yeah.
yeah, and her boyfriend just like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go alone. The doctor says I'm an appendage, and I need to be my own person." Who sounds just as depressed as Selena Kyle does. I was like, wow. So, but before we get to the apartment, we need to discuss that Max and the mayor, and the Max Shrek is saying that he has numbers to kick the mayor out, which is setting up the foreshadowing of what's going to be happening a little later in the film. And Shrek says it's not simple. It's not a threat. It's just simple numbers. And so he tries to give the speech. And of course, the other thing we forgot about to talk about Selena is she is very forgetful too. She's always forgetting something
Now,
too.
did she actually forget his speech, or
Yes.
he forgot it?
I think
I think she was supposed to remind him.
remind her. Yeah, because she's like, "Oh, pick up the laundry, pick up the stuff." Hold on, and
'Cause-
then she runs right, gets the
'cause-
speech. Yeah.
When he turns to his son,
Mhm.
he says, "I left my speech upstairs. Remind me to take it out on."
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, that makes more sense.
God, what a jerk.
Yeah, he's evil. So, we are also given a brief introduction to the Penguin. He's under the sewers, running around. He's getting everything set up for tonight's little run, which is the Red Triangle's debut, as I call it, Burton's Carnival of Nightmares, because it's all these.
Yeah, it is.
It's a nightmare to look at because it's all these guys on motorcycles running around kicking stuff, fire breathers. You
They
have
all come out of that big present.
all that big present. And it's funny that Max Shrek says, "If I could wrap all my kindness in a big box with a big bow," and then all of a sudden this big present comes out, and Chip goes,
Yeah, he
"Great
goes-
idea," and he goes,
That's
"That's not mine." And then like all these, and then they don't just come out of the box. Like some of them like fly out of the box, hit the tree, fall down, and it just creates this pandemonium in moments.
Right.
So I don't think even the Joker could have been more proud of that moment. So the chaos is happening with the Red Triangle Circus. Gordon is, his car gets hit with a sleigh from the heavy lifter, and he says, "Release the, what are you waiting for? The signal." So we finally get reintroduced back to the bat signal, or as I like to call it now, bat panels, because signal
Yeah,
goes
but
up,
that was cool,
panels
though.
activate, panels activate. That was pretty neat.
He's just sitting there in the dark. He's
brooding over his
okay.
thoughts, and then wake up call.
Jeez.
It's like daylight already.
I'm glad he was
No.
sitting in that one room, though.
Right? Time to go be me.
Right. But like, how would the panels know where he is in the manor if
Batman.
it's just
Yeah,
Batman?
I'm
Yeah.
Batman, okay.
When in doubt, when you have a question about a movie and Batman, it's Batman. So bat panels. That's the other excuse. So Selena is also caught in the chaos too. She eventually becomes a hostage for one of the clowns. To where, eventually we'll get to that, but we're introduced to the Batmobile yet again. Once again, we're being marketing and everything else, and then we're also shown that the Batmobile has new tricks up its sleeve. It's got launchers on it now, and it's got more of a passive-aggressive kind of launchers
got
now.
the,
Doesn't have machine guns on top of it like the last movie.
It's got the stand that it'll rise
the little-
on, so it
but
can turn
yeah.
around.
That's awesome.
The Bat turn.
He sets the guy on fire.
Yeah,
Right.
and the devil guy, the dude dressed up as the devil blowing fire. So I put in my notes, same car, new tricks. So Batman does save the day once again, being the pulp out of the carnival guys and saving. This is actually the first introduction to that grapple takedown, and that takedown was used again in an animated film called Batman Assault on Arkham, where he shoots the grapple gun into the wall, the criminal is confused, or he does the line, ha, you miss, and yanks the concrete out.
It's never a good line
it's
to use in movies.
No, because you know you're about to get
Right.
next week taken out. So
I didn't.
So, interesting enough, they use that in the movies and cartoon, but never in the games, or at least not yet. So, kind of interesting.
So he has saved Selena Kyle.
So he saves Selena Kyle, and Selena once again tries to be like, oh, Batman, or the Batman, and she's trying to be all
Yeah.
flirty, and it obviously doesn't work, and Batman just turns around and
She's
goes
a little
away.
awkward, and he just leaves.
Walks away. He just
Which-
gives her, I call it the bat stare.
Of
Keaton's
all of
good with
the
that.
hostage scenes, that was probably one of the worst ones. He had a taser up to her neck. Mm-hmm. Tase me. I ain't scared.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty-
I did love the fact though that afterward, right before she speaks to Batman, she kicks the guy,
Yeah.
and then after he walks off, she picks up the taser and she.
It's like smiled and everything.
I think that's just kind of like introducing Selena Kyle's evil side, like her dark side. Like there's
She-
potential, but
yeah.
it's not there yet.
She has no idea who she is at this point.
Right, and she's just figuring this out now, which ironically the taser will come back up much later. So we haven't seen the last of it yet. So I actually had that down in my notes too. So cool, we got
Good
that
for
covered. Yeah, we got that covered. So once again, Batman and Gordon. Hey, what can I say? Keep track of everything. So Batman and Gordon are talking about the circus returning, and they're wondering where Shrek went because after the chaos was said and done, Max Shrek kind of disappeared from the scenes,
Yeah.
and he gets yanked down by the Penguin, and we get a nice camera pan shot of the whole exhibit, like the whole place where it's supposed to be very dark, very cold. Also to show this, Burton was he held a lot of his creativity back with 1989's Batman because it was a new franchise and people wanted to be popular again. This one, he kind of had a little bit more leeway with creativity, so we actually get to see Tim Burton in his full environment in this
Yeah.
one. We get to
Right.
see the awkward angles, the awkward architecture, the extreme colors for a lot of situations, and the dark, depressing characters.
What about the Gotham sewers?
How do
Those
they
are
all?
nice.
Yeah,
They're spacious.
yeah. There's a lot
All
of
lead
room.
to the penguin
Yeah.
exhibit.
Perfect. There's a perfect amount of space to put a bat sub in there. Foreshadow. So, I mean, it's
Same.
perfect for scenery and such. Yeah, it's kind of
But
interesting.
I did love how throughout this whole opening, the first few scenes, he draws out the reveal of the penguin.
Yeah. Once again,
You see Shadow. You see
Yeah.
The flipper
a glimpse,
hands.
Flippers.
You see the flipper hands, but you never get the full reveal
that's good. That's
until he's ready for you to see it.
no, a lot of filmmakers need to go back and watch at least these two movies, at least watch these scenes in particular, because it does build up a lot of good suspense, and you don't know what is coming, who is coming, or how they're going to look, and it's kind of built up that tension and terror at the
Right.
same time. So, I mean, that's really good. Also, in this scene as well, when we get to see the whole zoo, or the abandoned zoo, we are actually introduced to the whole gang of the Red Triangle Circus.
Yeah.
So more than just the henchmen, we get to see the poodle lady, we get to see
They're all
the-
just kind of.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every scene we see them, they're kind of like just hanging out.
Yeah.
Not to remind you that Penguin does have somebody,
Yeah.
even if because that's the big thing with the Penguin. It's all about abandonment,
Yep.
and so
The theme of the movie.
yeah. So or
Yeah.
the theme was supposed to be family coming together, unity of that such. Because if Gotham City can overcome and be unified from this terror that they've been overcome with the Joker and everybody, everybody can handle that.
Right.
So Penguin subconsciously, why are you giving me that? Penguin subconsciously is trying to destroy that, which I have important questions later on. So we're actually fully introduced to the Penguin and his gang, and we're also introduced to Penguin's assortment of parasols, all the blades, the flamethrower, the swirly Q umbrella too, where Max Shrek makes that quote. Was like, supposed to hypnotize me? Just give you a splitting headache. And then he shoots him he tries to shoot him in the face, but they're
a
blanks.
blank.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a blank. That's the only one that's a blank.
And those come up again at the end.
Yes. Well, now they've been coming.
Nice little comedic moment.
Yes. And they actually do. It actually does. The umbrellas do come back periodically throughout the movie. So if not guns, they're coming blades.
What you call periodic parasols.
Periodic parasols. That's an interesting tongue twister there. So there you go. Penguin proposes a partnership with Shrek because Shrek has such an influence over Gotham City now. He's like the next best thing right next to Bruce Wayne. So he has a lot of influence, a lot of power.
Yeah.
And Penguin sees this opportunity to help him come back up to the surface and become one with Gotham City again. Albeit that's the more innocent explanation to Penguin's plan. But at the same time, though, Penguin wants to find out who his parents were, so on and so forth, because he was abandoned, of course.
Well, he has ulterior motives even then.
Yeah, well, he has those plans too. Which this brings an interesting question from my head. We'll talk about it later, but just keep in mind: are we supposed to actually feel catharsis for the Penguin? Because the way that they play him up on occasion, that we're supposed to feel like cathartic with him. We're supposed to feel sad, or give him a break. He's he's been abandoned since he was a kid.
I think they were trying to do like there's a same side to every coin type thing.
Right.
Like, he is a villain, but wouldn't you be if you were in this spot as well?
Yeah, if you were born disfigured and
he has things in common with Batman.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually do say that in the conversation with their duel at the end too, so it's interesting. So Penguin wants to return to the surface, both tragic and evil reasons. Penguin wants to know his parents, but may have something else up his sleeve. Of course, we'll find out here shortly. And of course, Max Shrek is not too keen about doing this, and Penguin decides to blackmail Max Shrek, basically, with stocking stuffers that Penguin has gathered over the years from Shrek's evil doings. So we find out that Shrek is really a diabolical corporate individual because he shreds all his papers, and of course the Penguin says with a little tape and a little patience makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And his partner, I guess you would say, that made up the Shrek Industries, finds a Fred's hand. Yeah. And of course they
Fred. We went from Bob to Fred.
Bob to Fred. Of course, Fred doesn't make as much of an appearance as we would like. Except they took.
You gotta hand it to him.
You gotta hand it to him. Oh no. Oh, yep. There we go.
What is it that he tells Max?
You flush it, I flaunt it.
Yeah.
Those are the words. Not to mention, we actually see even though Penguin is very animalistic in his behavior, he is very sophisticated with his dialogue. He is very etiquette. He's very eloquent with his speech. I mean, that's why he is has such charisma with later on when it's going to happen to shortly. So after the stocking stuffers, we're now panning back to Selina Kyle and her apartment, which is a really, really pink apartment, by the way.
She got a pink telephone.
So
very girly.
Yeah.
So, and also I put this quote on here too, is that we're focused. Yes, we did focus on the Joker a lot, but we had as much time with Michael Keaton and Bruce Wayne, Batman, a lot in the first Batman film too. But this time around, I couldn't help.
Back seat.
Huh? He does take a back seat a lot. Like, we're more focused on Catwoman, Penguin, Max Shrek more than Bruce Wayne. I feel like that's one of the film's major errors. But that's a note that I'm going to put down for later. I feel like that was a massive error for the sequel. So that's just a thought in my head.
I agree.
We'll save it for the thoughts shortly. But I just want to bring that up now so we can think about it, stew it over.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
But let's go back to Michelle Pfeiffer, shall we? So once again, we're seeing the environment of the apartment as well. It's hiding a lot of what she really truly wants to be. It's very pink because she wants to be very girly, very positive, very outgoing, because that's what guys are into, or supposedly whatever stereotypes, what have you, for the movie. But it's like
that's what guys are into.
Huh?
To her, that's what.
To her, yeah. So, but she's hiding a much more darker nature, which will be unleashed soon. And of course, she's alone, miserable, but she loves her cats. She talks to them like people, gives them milk and everything else. Fun fact, milk is actually very bad for their diet. Believe it or not, dairy products are bad.
It's terrible for their guts.
Yeah, ironically. So there you go. Keep in mind.
What the hell's that got to do with the movie?
It's just a fun fact.
PETA should have been in this one too.
We're talking about the parakeet earlier. Poor cat needs attention too, not just the parakeet.
I still can't believe that was live. That was real.
Yeah. Holy mother. So, okay.
All the penguins.
All right. And the penguins too. Yeah, and poor Peter really would have had a field day with this movie.
I'm surprised they didn't have Ace the Bat Hound in here.
Yeah. You would think with all the pets running around, yeah, you would think. You would think.
He could have chased off
But
her cats.
I also, I know we talked about Pfeiffer's acting in this, but this is the moment where I've really truly loved her acting
Yeah.
in this scene. It plays this part so well. She delivers
See how like
it
depressed and
excellent.
things like that is. Like she's her mom's recordings on the voicemail box and everything.
And that the boyfriend is rejecting her trip, and she's like, maybe I should let him win that last racquetball. We once again see a human side to these characters.
The funny thing is, you look at this character, and you can't really envision that character playing racquetball.
No,
That's the other thing too. I guess
Right.
that's like the dark irony of it all. I guess I don't know. It's it's like maybe I should have let him won that. It's like how many games did you play? Okay, so after listening to her voice machine, and of course there's also we have Shrek Industries leaving her a little like now for your boss for her you want to just get him all
so
excited.
sexist,
Yeah, I know
man.
it's
Yep.
horrible.
The
horrible.
90s, I guess, but
It's horrible. And after listening to her voice machine, Selena hears her own voice in the voice machine going, honey, you have to go all the way back to
Get
the
the file
office, get the
together on
files
Bruce
ready for
Wayne."
the Wayne meeting on Wednesday. And she's once again calling herself a stupid corn dog, and she returns to the office to get the files ready. And of course, at the same time, Shrek comes back as well from the sewers. Did they drop him off at the rubber duck, or
They probably
where?
just took him over where the toilets in
I
his building let out.
I
and said,
guess.
"Cry."
Also the
Climb.
fact that Selena Kyle did not smell him coming in too, because I mean he's been pulled into this.
Oswald takes a bath every now and again.
Sure,
He had bath.
sure. So with all the black blood and everything, sure, okay, I'll take that.
You know what was interesting about this upcoming scene?
Huh?
She was very smart in the way she figured out the password.
Yeah.
So she's not an
she's not
idiot.
dumb. No.
No, she's no. It was never
She's
pointed
just, it's almost like she doubts herself to the point that she fails instead of believing in herself
Maybe-
and succeeding.
Maybe it's just that one bad luck too many times, and it just kind of really just depressed her. It could happen to anybody. It's a good.
Could be.
I think that's another reason why we could connect with Selena Kyle so much, because we've all had that times where it's just like a lot of bad luck may have happened, and we're just like it may have hit our morale a little bit too low. So it was her. We've been at that rock bottom before, so fair enough. Max returns from the sewers to find Selena snooping around the files, finding out that the password was the Chihuahua.
She looks at the stuffed
The
chihuahua.
Stuffed chihuahua.
So and also
That wasn't the only one. There was like another one right beside it.
So that's okay. I had my own pun with this too, because of course Selena Kyle, being Catwoman curiosity, killed the cat because she finds out that the power plant is not supposed to provide energy; it's supposed to drain energy, and it's supposed
Store
to
it.
store it for. And we find out it's not only Shrek's legacy, but it's also something to leave behind for Chip. So that way he can, keep the power or like keep Shrek going forever and ever in Gotham, and that way hold the city eventually to hostage, I guess you would say. So snare roll for curiosity, kill the cat, which Max pushes Selena out of the office window, to which she is survived by how do we describe this? She falls out of the window and survives a couple stories worth of banner mocking Felix cat things.
Yeah.
Whack, 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 and hits the snow. Not sand, excuse me. Snow. Long day, trust me.
Went straight to Malibu.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to Miami.
They
No.
actually had to put tuna on her.
They had to put two
For
of
the
them, so that's why the cats.
That would make sense. They kept coming by and everything.
Cats are very.
But I thought that whole scene with she and Max was really well done.
Yeah.
The way that he really, you think he's just going to go ahead and shove
Yeah.
her out the window.
Yeah.
And then
He
he
feigned it.
Fake
He
out.
feigned it,
Yeah.
and then just real quick got her.
Mhm.
And
Give her a false sense of security,
Yeah.
and then so that way she's not like bracing herself
her-
and getting
like,
ready.
She was crying.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Great performance.
It's good scenes all around. And of course, Cat X Machina. That was the joke. Cat X Machina, because all the cats are coming in to help, quote unquote, wake her up. Or
That was.
That one was gnawing on her finger.
Yeah.
that
that was like-
well, I think that's because of the tuna fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we mentioned it, it's just like gnawing away, blood coming down the fingers.
That's what
I'm
he
just
was
like,
doing.
Oh makes
Now,
more
keep
sense,
this
though.
in mind. This is supposed to be a film where they are supposed to be making a lot of marketing with the franchise and making a lot of merchandise, and now we're
They
having
could have sold tuna fish.
sure. Action figures, video games,
Tuna
Batmobiles, tuna fish, and we're having Porcelain Kyle, having a
Bloody
near-death
fingers.
experience, getting bitten by cats and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
snapping back to reality almost quickly.
the eye flutter that she
Oh,
did
yeah.
with
Yeah.
her eyes rolled back in her head.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done.
Creepy, dark,
Yeah.
really good stuff. Really good stuff. Selena returns to her apartment traumatized, destroying it after listening to one more voicemail that finally triggers her. But it's not the mother
It's
that
from-
triggered her, but it's from Shrek Industries, and especially about
Because like
flirting.
she was going through her routines.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
And
it's
she just dumped some milk on the floor.
Yeah.
yeah. She
And she drank the rest.
it's
I think that was for like a cat effect as well. Though.
yeah, and she just like drinks the milk from the carton, and it just like
Spilling all
spills
down.
everywhere. She's just like zero care to the world until the voice message from Shrek Industries sent her spiraling, because it's kind of like a dark irony in that way too, because I was mentioning about flirting with your boss after work hours, and she just literally got pushed out of a window from.
I love the
Yeah.
I love the neon sign too. Because
Hello
there.
Hello
Yeah.
there.
It
and then
says
she
hell
knocks
here.
it
And
out.
she's just like, she knew it. She didn't even have to look and know where the sign is. She just went quack whack, and she just walked away. And it just says hell here. And I thought that Catwoman's arc in this movie was very well
Yeah.
done, very well done. Penguin's questionable. Catwoman's though phenomenal. I love it.
Penguins was all right. I mean, it was.
Penguins is okay, but this is where I'm gonna get to the confusion here in a little bit more. So, in the meantime, while
Be a little bit.
yeah, it will be. Selena Cat. So
Selena Cat.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
cat.
Smelly cat.
Smelly
Selena Cat. What are they feeding you?
That's probably copyright.
Yeah. Well, it was before.
It wasn't longer than 3 seconds.
less
okay?
than less than 10 seconds. You're good. So Penguin and Shrek.
Every time he says Shrek,
I think of Shrek
DreamWorks
from
Shrek.
Michael Bay. Donkey.
Every time.
That's why I try to say Max Shrek with the name too.
Was Penguin Donkey?
Penguin. It's not very nice. It's just a donkey. It's just a penguin. So, Penguin and Max Shrek, I've got to try to say Max Shrek, I'm going to get tired eventually. They stage a kidnapping with the mayor's baby, making the Penguin a hero and giving him access to Gotham Archives. Because the moment that the clown comes in, grabs the baby, says, not big with speeches, but thank you, does flips.
That was so great, though. I
Weird,
loved it.
so random, but okay. And flips into the sewers, and then he says, "Oh, Penguin Man, don't hurt me," and
Yeah, it was
everything. So yeah, convincing acting was convincing.
Oh,
So
man.
Penguin rises up, dramatic. I love Danny Elfman's soundtrack to this one
Yeah.
because it's very dramatic to each character. You can tell when it's the Penguin's theme, when it's the Catwoman's theme, and Batman's theme, because it's just so distinct. It's very well done. With the rescuing of the baby, this catches Bruce's attention and begins his investigation almost immediately, especially discovering the Red Triangle has been kidnapping children since their adoption with the Penguin. So, this is not the first time that the Red Triangle Circus has been having an ill repute, shall we say. They're not good people. So, with this discovery in mind, which Alfred says, well, I guess you feel a lot better now that you know. And Bruce says, nope, I feel worse. So he dons the suit, gets in this Batmobile, and drives around.
Cruises by the
He
Hall of
cruises by the archives. And even Alfred's going, what are you doing still out? And he's like, are you still worried about this Penguin guy? And Batman's going, he's not revealing everything that he knows. And sure enough, we get to see him.
He says
We-
he knows who his parents are.
He knows, yeah. He's like, but there's something else, and we see Penguin, and even like before that scene where we see Penguin just flipping through birth certificates, writing names down of the first children, which I have a really good gripe about the plan shortly. So, dramatic pan of the cemetery,
to it.
huh?
Look forward to it.
Oh yeah, get ready. Critiquing begins soon. So now we have a big dramatic pan of the cemetery, and I feel like that was really well done too, because of the design, the atmosphere, the music that went with it, and it's just how it was shot at every different angle, and it was from the audience perspective, from the Penguin, I thought it was very well done. I thought it was a really good dramatic dramatic piece that symbolized the catharsis. I guess we were supposed to feel for the Penguin because he just found out
He is
about.
a sympathetic character.
He is. That brings confusion to me a lot because, yes, some villains are supposed to be sympathetic because of their nature. But at the same time, though, they're trying to play him like he's dastardly evil. He's going to do this, this, and this. But at the same time, feel bad for him. Feel bad for him. But it's like
It's kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge.
I guess. But Ebenezer
I mean,
was given a redemption moment, though.
Well,
Penguin, he kind of
Penguin
doesn't.
died.
Well, no, that's not really redemption. So
He'll get it on the other side.
sure. After briefly mourning the loss of his parents, Penguin accepts his birth name as Oswald Cobblepot. Penguin wins the hearts of the people using his tragedy as his foundation. So we find that he has a natural gift of public speaking eloquently. He's a natural-born politician. So Max Schreck sees this opportunity and opens up himself to possibly, if this mayor's not going to agree with me with the power plant, I'll get Cobblepot in. So, yeah. Also, before we get to that, though, we get the introduction of Catwoman as well. Catwoman, we are teased with the suit, but now we get to see her in all her glory and fighting the bad guy off, and clawing his
She
face.
even griped at the girl. She says, "You're the one. You put yourself."
It's always so easy waiting for some Batman to save you. Yeah, instead of, taking the fight to yourself, defend yourself and everything. I love that if you can listen to the Blu-ray and you listen to the fight between the guy, and when she's clawing his face, you can literally hear Michelle Pfeiffer say tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
She says tic-tac-toe. And then that was it. So, and then we get the famous line. This is a famous line. I am Catwoman, hear me roar. And then she does the flip. She does, it's again, phenomenal work with her scenes. So, man, I made a joke about this. Quickest meeting in history. They literally just sit down for 2 minutes, talk about plant. I want to make this power plant. It's not going to work. Oh, what makes you say that? You're working with the Penguin. I don't appreciate mudslinging. Get the hell out. So, quickest meeting in history. Max wants power plant. Bruce disagrees because Gotham has a power surplus and threatens Max with his connection with the Penguin. So, can't prove it yet, but he does know. So, and during this, what Max calls quote-unquote mudslinging, Selina reappears in the office too, throwing both men off guard for different reasons. Bruce immediately falls for Selina, whereas Max Schreck's looking at going, didn't I just push you out the window? Didn't you die? Didn't I say you were on vacation?
Not only is she back, but she's changed. She's confident.
Yeah. It's like she has a whole
She's
different
sure of herself.
personality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And it just stays. I guess, death kind of does that to somebody, or at least in Tim Burns' universe, it does.
You've already died.
Weird. So
Couldn't get much worse.
So it's just funny. It's just Max is trying to cover up his little incident with Selina by saying, "Did you hit your head on that ski slope? Is that why you came back? Like, I'm giving you lines to work with. Please work with me, or I'll kill you again." This time you won't come back. So it was funny. It was
from a higher window.
And the way that she plays that off, too, she just bounces that off. She goes, it's a blur. I can't remember. It was not amnesia. And then she just goes into this random story of her past. But she said, last night, complete blur. Like, okay, I'll play along for now. So it's kind of interesting to see that chemistry between Max Schreck, Selina, and Bruce Wayne with all this. Yeah. It's so cool. Anyway, Max isn't too concerned, obviously, because he says, she tries to blackmail me, I'll push her out a higher window. Till then, I've bigger fish to fry. To which, quite literally, he does. He buys a fish and goes to Cobblepot's place.
So gross.
And it was a real fish.
And it was a real fish.
Figured.
And he actually did eat the fish.
So
And he still does that to this day. He actually does eat he still does eat the raw fish. And in fact, he salivates every time he hears that. Like the moment he wants fish, he wants it. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I watched the behind the scenes documentary for this movie. I was kind of wondering why was that an actual fish. Sure enough, it was. It was weird. Danny DeVito is a very interesting.
I didn't know that
he loved it. He thought it was the best taste in the world.
All right then.
That's cool. Yeah, he's an
I'll take his
interesting
word
fellow.
for it.
Yeah,
But this scene coming up is great.
it's interesting reasons because now we're starting to see
Could be
PG.
bleeding from the nose.
Yeah,
I
could be
have
worse.
gushing from my nose.
this is where we're starting to see a lot more of, not like we've been seeing the PG-13 a lot already, but this is where we're kind of seeing the more innuendo side of the movie now too. This is where I think a lot of the parents were not too upset about the violence, but what was coming, like the innuendos, the jokes, and everything else, like the French flipper trick and all that. That's what probably sent parents up the up Warner Brothers parking lot going, "How dare you show this to our kids? It's PG-13. Look at the rating, man." So Max is not too concerned with Selena, and Max goes to his little I don't know where he's hiding right now. I don't even know what building it is. I guess they're just keeping it a mystery. Just why not? They don't even know. So,
something with a tower at the top.
I guess
the Red Triangle gang is still over there.
Yeah, creepily
Just kinda
watching.
hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out. Just remember, folks, they're there. They're in the movie.
Yeah.
So Max bribes Penguin away from the table because now he's got his list. He's writing all the addresses because he's got the phone book right there too.
Yep.
This is 1991. This is before internet. So truly, then we didn't really get the internet till 95. Interesting fact. So Penguin continues to make his list for his nefarious plan, whatever that could be. We'll know eventually. And like, this is where I started to notice that the environment in this film is very Burton, unlike the first one. This is why I took a note, because the office where Penguin sits, it's very abandoned, but yet it has the Gothic architecture and has like the crooked windows, and like this is Burton's kid at this point, this movie. So fresh fish, we already talked about the fish, and of course, now we are introduced to Max Schreck's evil plan, which is to make Oswald Cobblepot the next mayor. Try to boycott, or not boycott, but recall the mayor that's current. Do we even get the name of the mayor that's in Gotham City right now?
I think they did, but
So I don't think
He was
he's
so
ever-
irrelevant
yeah.
because he was only in a couple of scenes and then gone, disappeared. So he comes back for like the ball for the end, but it was like, yeah, okay. I'm like Danny DeVito, just hit him with the broom, get him out of the way. Who the hell cares? So that's where Chris mentions the line, "Could be worse. My nose could be gushing with blood," which is now that face with Danny DeVito laughing.
Everyone was so fake to Penguin this whole
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
They were laughing that the joke was hilarious, and the dude's like, "I don't get it."
Understand? And then Danny just turns around, just
God.
fountain
his
of
nose.
blood, fountain of blood.
and you wonder, all right, how much is Max Schreck paying these people?
Right.
That's
Because
the
they
question.
just go back to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're
Yeah.
I'm out.
You know what? I got a meeting.
I mean, if you can propose a power plant for Gotham City, you must have a lot of money
Yeah,
to
that's
throw
true.
around. So
Touche.
Penguin doesn't, and here's a fun thing: Penguin doesn't really accept the offer at first. He doesn't want to be mayor. He wants to
No.
stay focused to what he originally wants to do. But then Max bribes him yet again. This time, feeding in his ego, feeding the popularity, so that way, or like can control the records and all that fun stuff, and also get him, again, innuendo, and.
You have the girl that comes up and talks about how, what does she tell him? He's cool.
Oh, that's like the coolest role model that Gotham
Yeah.
could ever have.
He
A
says-
young person could ever have.
Yeah,
And
and
he
he
goes-
says, "You're the youngest person a role model.
You're the
could ever
hottest person. You're the hottest young person. I'm like, creep. Anyway,
And he puts that button on her.
Yeah.
Just press that on.
That's not how they work.
cringeworthy moment for that one. Anyway, after some convincing, he does eventually. Oswald does decide, and he does want to become mayor, and he says, "What a political speech! Burn, baby, burn!" And then that's Max Schreck, and actually entices him the idea to use the Red Triangle Circus to sabotage
Right.
or cause destruction around the city. Of course. Yeah, they jump to that with the poodle running with a grenade in her mouth, and
That
of
was
course,
awesome.
that's
I was about to
that's-
say, please don't kill the poodle.
No, they're just running away. No, not like anything else has been weird enough in this film, but
Right.
it just gets weirder. It gets more Tim Burton as we go along. So Red Triangle does go out and create chaos, but Batman does go after them, and he uses, of course, the remote batarang for the win. This is one of the
Yeah.
first times we see a remote batarang in the
Those
war.
stick figure
It-
things.
It's just funny that it doesn't like do like a spin or
Yeah,
anything.
it
It
just-
just flies
yeah.
right at them. It's like an annoying
Yeah.
fly. And there's like a camera right on the
Yeah.
batarang too. It's just funny. I know it's supposed to be a serious moment where Batman is winning, but I can't help but laugh. It's just so silly. So of course, with Batman and Penguin doing their own little chaos and Batman trying to control order, Penguin creating chaos, Catwoman is doing her own little mission as well. She is actually in Shrek's department store, where she is running around vandalizing, destroying things here and there, and then the two police guards are going, I don't know whether to open fire or fall in love. And Catwoman's like, you're overpaid, hit the road. And she whips them back out of the store.
That scene where she takes the mannequin heads off.
Mm-hmm.
One take.
Is that really her?
And it was her with the whip.
Good Lord, go Pfeiffer, man!
Yeah.
That's
Keep
awesome.
the whip over. I'm sure she did.
I think she did.
She did, yeah. And she actually found it supposedly when she was going through some stuff later on.
Uh-huh.
And she tried it, and she was like, yeah, it was a bit rusty.
Those
things are dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
She's awesome. And, okay, let's just get this out of the window. He killed the guy, Batman. With the
he
TNT.
threw him into the thing.
The guy, Batman walks, being
He put
Batman.
the dynamite on the guy's belt.
Yeah.
It's on the belt. He
put him
knocks
in
him
his
into the
sewer.
sewer, and then not 2 seconds, it blows. And so many people today, the internet people today, are just causing such an uproar about that, because it's like, but it's like, did you watch the first movie?
Set the other guy on fire earlier.
Yeah.
He set the guy on fire. He threw the guys off a car into a building. In Batman '89, he
Blew 'em
killed
up.
20 plus people in the Axis Chemicals. He's killed people.
Yeah.
Get over it. This is
Might not be
Burton's
as
Batman.
brutal as Batman
The
versus
Arkham
Superman.
games are questionable too. It's
Yeah.
like with some of the moves he does. It's like, are you sure he didn't kill anybody? It's kind of curious. Yeah, because my note was Batman killed the guy. Come on, everybody, you know he did. It's like, come on, let's just admit it, get it done and over with. Also, we come to I was kind of concerned with this shot because the way that the next scene played it out, and then the way this scene went, we're seeing Penguin changed already. He was in that onesie suit and complete disheveled, a mess, but now we're seeing in a much more eloquent.
He's always a mess.
Well, this one is a much more cleaner mess now because he's in his top hat, his upper class suit with his umbrella, and we don't have the monocle. Although we did get a monocle picture.
His father had a monocle.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. So this is where Batman and Penguin have a little quick back and forth with each other. Not much, but we do get the line of "things change." Another one of, memorable quotes. So and this brought an interesting question too between Batman and Penguin. When they said things change, I wonder if that was Burton trying to address something in this as well, because the sequel, maybe there was something going on with with Warner Brothers, like trying to say to Burton, here, do this, do this, do this, and Burton wanting to do it his way, and then, as the sequel came out, he wanted people to know that maybe just things change, and you just have to accept the change as they come. So I wonder if it was just that. I don't know. I just read into this stuff too much sometimes. So, of course, Catwoman makes her dramatic appearance to the guys. She does her flip, 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 and she does a pose. A little awkward, but because it does throw Penguin and Batman off. Penguin's kind of like, yeah, this is kind of exciting. Batman's going, who is this?
Yeah.
And
Another one.
yeah, and Batman's like, oh, God. Yeah, because this is one of the first films that we get 2 villains. Not just one, but 2.
Yeah.
Even if we want to
Which
count.
cuts into Batman's screen time, ultimately. I mean,
Yeah.
True,
we
pretty
don't get
much.
as much.
Well, wait till we get to Batman and Robin. Or Forever is going to be a different story, too. So, Catwoman succeeds in her mission. She does her little meow, and then the whole building explodes, too. Shrek is under siege, under fire. And Batman is, caught off guard. He protects his eyes, and Catwoman disappears, and Penguin's right behind him going, saw her first, gotta fly. And we're introduced to Burton weird thing number 2, 3, can't remember the count. The Penguin, the parasol copter. Where the handle
I'd
just
love to have
extended.
one.
That was an interesting dramatic exit, I will say.
It's not the first time we see it, or it's not the last time we see it.
No, but that's kind of an that was an interesting prop, I will say. It brought a sense of uniqueness to Penguin's arsenal, I will say.
He's a big
cool.
guy though, so I mean it had to be awfully powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where's the rotor and everything? Like, how does this thing really actually work?
I was thinking about this.
I'm overthinking it again. So, parasol copter. So many questions. I want answers. Anyway, so and now of course Catwoman looks at Penguin too, like she's seen him before, like they've worked together. This is why I'm bringing about the confusion for the next scene, is because Catwoman looks at him like, yeah, we worked together before, like, yeah, we did a bad thing and everything else, and then she just tries to walk away or finds Batman, who's climbing a ladder because he has a grapple gun. Why couldn't he just use that?
It was low on bullets.
I guess his grapple machina from the last movie kind of like ruined it for him. So Catwoman and Batman have their first rendezvous on the roof already. They're battling it out, and Catwoman outsmarts Batman using her, abilities and such, and deceive and deception as well. But of course, Batman once again pulls a one-up on her, throwing a napalm bomb at Catwoman, and both of them almost fall to their deaths, but Batman manages to grab a ledge. Catwoman is scraping at the rooftop, which Batman saves her, and they kind of have their first little romance together. So this is actually
Tete-a-tete.
Huh?
Tete-a-tete.
Tete-a-tete. So this is interesting because we see the romance between Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale in the last movie, but now we're seeing Bruce Wayne
Ultimately has disappeared.
Huh?
Yeah.
She's just ultimately
It's
disappeared.
the
just-
bottom of the Batcave.
pop.
Yeah. Bottom of the Batcave.
So, of course, the romance is very, very short. Batman is duped and gets injured himself. He kind of lets Selina like where's the real man behind the bat, and then clip right into the armor, in which Batman just flinches.
But she leaves it behind.
Huh?
Yeah.
She leaves it behind.
Yeah,
Like corkscrewed in his arm.
Yeah, pretty much. With something like that, it would be kind of impossible to get it out at that moment. So, Catwoman is saved by a gravel truck, which she calls a kitty litter. And Batman says, bring the ointment, and, he looks at the thing and goes, meow. I guess that's a confusion of whether, I don't know whether to arrest this person.
It's kind of interesting to see Batman talking on a telephone
Yeah.
with the cowl on and everything.
Yeah.
So because every time we've seen Batman up to this point, he's always doing the job and being successful and rising to the top. This one, he's showing a little rusty too. He was outmatched a little. He was outmatched quite a bit in Catwoman.
there's that one bit when they're fighting, and she kind of pushes him too far, so
Yeah.
he throws her down. And she's like, "How could you? I'm a woman."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
That's the deception I was talking
Yeah.
about, because she was just like, "How dare you? I'm a woman. Why would you do that?" And he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," and then kick right to the stomach.
It's like he's never had to do that before.
No.
He's never had to go toe to toe with a woman.
True.
And there's that sort of chivalrous side to him.
The
that's like-
knighthood behind
the
that.
knighthood.
Yeah. Interesting. So now here comes the scene that Penguin is coming up to the stairs and the camera's so close to him, which I feel like that would have been the big reveal, that he's making this dramatic change now on the outside, that's why I was confused with the scene during the whole, things change. Why could we have done at least this big reveal before the Red Triangle Circus goes and burns everything, and then have it back and forth? So, have the meeting with, the big change, and then having the meeting with Selina Kyle in the next meeting.
We'll call Tim Burton and ask him.
Yeah, just
Sure. You have direct
bring him
line?
right up.
So, interesting question. But anyway, Penguin now takes his political run seriously, which means his other project is pushed to the side. He goes up the stairs after groping, he does, groping the hot role model.
The campaign volunteer.
Campaign volunteer. So, Penguin does that. He's very excited about this.
Kind
and
of topical in the current climate. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway, Penguin is going up there. He's just marveling at this thing about, this mayor stuff's really awesome and everything else. And then the circus guy's going, Oswald! or Penguin. He's like, it's not Penguin, it's Oswald. So he's trying to embrace the human side of his
Right.
character, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then the guy's going, hey, Oswald, somebody is here to see you. And then, sure enough, it's Selina Kyle, Catwoman, and she's just all, on the bed, which, brings
We
this...
won't.
No, we're not going to say this line just because of the content we're trying to keep
this
here. So, but
moderately.
when you go see the film, you'll
family
understand.
Oriented.
When you watch the film, you'll understand. So then Catwoman and Penguin are trying to find a way to work together because they both have a splinter in their side, which is, of course, Batman, which kind of hounds back to the 1966, Catwoman trying to get all the villains together and trying to establish this plan. Once again, brought again to Batman Returns with Catwoman and Penguin saying, no problem, we're already establishing a plan, which he has he's creating a homing device, and they're trying to make the Batmobile, as he says, an H-bomb on wheels. Which brings the question, how the hell did they get the blueprints for the Batmobile?
I never understood that.
Where
that
did
didn't
they
make
get
any
from-
sense to me.
Like, I mean, I get
Like,
it.
they
You're
had
trying
all the schematics to it.
Yeah, they have.
Unless they flushed it down the toilet.
You flush it, I flaunt it. Yeah, I guess.
Maybe
Well, I mean-
Max Shrek got it for him.
Or the archives, Gotham archives.
Because one thing that doesn't... Later on, Alfred makes a comment that, we have to figure out what to do about the Batmobile because
So you
we can't just drive it to a repair shop.
No, but I mean, in the comics and the animated series, there have been mechanics that have worked on the Batmobile before. But in this movie, it doesn't make a lot of sense because we don't have that introduction. We never had a character beforehand be introduced to establish the blueprints and everything else.
Right.
I mean, what can you do? Oh, well,
There's no Lucius Fox.
There's no Lucius Fox in this, which is weird.
Freeman.
Really.
Yeah. R.I.P. to him,
So-
too.
Anyway,
His
huh?
career's over.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sexual allegations.
He's the voice of God. There's no...
Well, anyway, Catwoman finds Penguin and they begin their plan to bring down Batman to their level. So they're not trying to kill the Batman; they're just trying to bring him to their level, trying to make him a villain, frame him for crimes and everything else. So, Penguin proposes a relighting of the tree on television with Batman to make a public appearance, to make a speech, to be there for the lighting of the tree as well, as kind of a way of just like trying to get Batman to this location to set him up, whatever plan they have. Which, of course, we come to find out. Actually, we talked about this too, about the notes of Miss Gotham, the Ice Princess. She's like, tree lights up, and I press the button. No, that's not right. And she grabs the paper, and you see the words, big bold letters on that scrap of paper, which is pretty funny. But before then, we get another scenario or scene with Bruce and Selina meeting each other outside again. They're talking to each other, trying to learn a little bit more about each other, and Bruce finds out a more darker side to Selina, which kind of, makes them spark even more together. So, yeah. So Bruce says, you know what? Tell you what, how about we just watch the relighting of the tree, at my place. We'll grab dinner and everything
she says,
else.
I can't. I have somewhere to be.
Yeah. She's like, no, I got an appointment. And he pushes it, and
Early dinner.
Huh?
Early
Let's say
dinner.
5. Let's say 6. I mean, with Selina, you can tell she's like, wow, I've really got Bruce Wayne under my thumb here. That's awesome.
She wants to go.
Yeah.
She wants to be with him.
But this is her first big change that has been very beneficial for her too, because of this new confidence and everything. Now she's getting all this attention now, and then from unexpected places, especially for like a millionaire like Bruce Wayne. So it's like cool, So they plan to watch the relighting of the tree. Just said it. Penguin kidnaps Miss Gotham and televises it to make it look like Batman committed the crime. Especially how Jim Gordon just looks at the camera and says, purely circumstantial.
Yeah.
Batman did not do this. It's purely circumstantial.
He got one of his-
Until... Huh?
Got one of his batarangs and had blood on it.
Yep. Purely circumstantial. So there is a brief moment of romance between Selina and Bruce. Of course, I want to make that joke with Heath Ledger. You want to know how I got these scars? Because Selina Kyle slips her hand under his waist. And he's like, "Oh nope, that
Where
hurts."
she clawed him earlier.
Yeah, and then Bruce is like sliding down his arm where he napalmed Selina earlier, and they're like, "Nope, can't do that." And Bruce is like, "Neither can I." So already that should have been clue that
Something's
I'm
going
surprised.
on there.
Yeah, something's going on more than what they're revealing here. So, and it's also funny too that both of them are trying to use Alfred as an excuse cushion. Like they're like, "Would you tell him, or would you tell her, or like, could you make something up as
Poor
I leave?"
Alfred.
Poor Alfred. You can see like his facial. I thought that was funny too. His facial expression is like,
All he got
seriously?
for all that trouble
There's
was room
two?
and board.
Yeah.
seriously, there's two of them? So, and it's also interesting, too, to see both of them get changed into their costumes as well, because Selina's trying to, like, get dressed in the car, which, for any of us that working in theater before, like, trying to change costumes at, like, in the car to, like, get to the show for, like, community theater,
that is like an experience in hell. Whereas Batman has his own like personal vault of like 20+ costumes,
Yeah, and they're all on hangers.
all on hangers. Like
You don't just slide
Jeez.
into them going down
Right.
the
No.
Batmobile anymore.
You
Nope.
just hit the switch.
But it's interesting though because she's trying to change into her latex as she's going to this downtown deal, and it's like it's latex. Like you gotta.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's skin
just
tight.
slip
Yeah.
it off.
No. Also, I had made a quote about they're having their conversation, and actually Vicky Vale does come up in the conversation, and then Sidney kind of says, "What, waitress?" And he goes, "No, photographer." And but we're never told. Like she tried to make it work, didn't happen. But other than that, we didn't.
She couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
No.
and then I love it how Selena Kyle says, "Did you tell her everything?" And he goes, "Yep, told her everything." Which I made the quote of, "Yeah, sure, Bruce, because you didn't really have much of a choice there." Alfred just kind of brought her in.
Yeah, pretty much.
So back to Batman and Catwoman are at the meeting place where everything is going down. Batman and Catwoman are fighting again. This time but now the Red Triangle. While Batman and Catwoman are fighting, the Red Triangle Circus is actually sabotaging the Batmobile. Instead of causing more chaos, they're creating chaos for the Batmobile. So they literally break it apart, and they put this homing device underneath. Like for everything else that they broke apart, they put it like right underneath the car. Like could have put it in the turbine engine. Could have put it in
hit it just a
9
little bit
million,
better.
9 million other hiding places you broke this car apart with. You decide, well, let it up underneath.
Makes
So-
no sense.
Nope. For a circus that's down on their luck, no money, hiding in the sewers, where did they get the money to make it attach up? I guess.
Magnets.
Max Shrek, of course, too. I forgot about Shrek and his
Yeah.
never-ending supply of money and walking quotes, I guess you would say.
There you go.
So, Red Triangle sabotages the Batmobile. They plant a homing device underneath the car. Penguin and Batman succeed with Miss Gotham being murdered. Batman gets on the roof, sees Miss Gotham on the edge, and Penguin just comes out suddenly, goes long dart, throws. He literally says it. Long dart, throws the umbrella, opens up to all these
love
bats.
that.
And it opens up, and the umbrella opens up to reveal all these bats, and the bats start attacking Miss Gotham, and she falls off, lands in the box, and then the whole
I had a-
escapade of bats
I have a
starts.
problem
escaping.
with that scene though.
How so? Do tell.
Through all these Batman films,
Mhm.
we see him in a situation like that. Jump off a building,
Uh-huh.
grab the person, fire the grappling hook up, and save the day.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Not this one.
I guess when you have, I guess
you have to have above a certain IQ
Yeah.
before you.
Well, I think it's just that I think anybody would be frozen in place if they saw Danny DeVito come out in the Penguin outfit, just throwing an umbrella,
Long
opening
dart.
up, yeah, saying
Yeah,
long dart.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean,
slight distraction there. I would be anyway. So, Batman. Yeah, and Batman. When in doubt, Batman. Batman's framed for the crime because now all the bats are circling around the trees,
and they
now-
see him standing on the ledge.
And the ledge where Miss Gotham fell off. Of course, nobody think to real or why didn't Batman say, "Hey, Danny DeVito is hiding behind that fire escape. where you guys came from? He's hiding right behind there."
People
Shoot-
down there would have said, "Who's Danny DeVito?"
Yeah, or the Penguin for that matter, or Oswald Cobblepot, whatever his name is. So I was like, guy, because my quote was, "Guys, Penguin's behind that," and he gets shot, and he's like, "All right, cool." So even then, Commissioner Gordon's going, "Hold your fire, don't shoot him." And of course, the police are just like, "There he is, shoot him!" And then of course he falls on his back, and at this point, I'll be like Bruce Wayne going, "Yep, this has not been a good couple of days here." Batman has been defeated more times in this movie than I have ever seen yet, so far. So, of course, Catwoman is, once again, being very flirtatious with Batman, and they have the famous line, "Mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it, but a kiss can be deadlier if you truly meant it." And, of course, Catwoman stabs him yet again, this time right in square in front of the chest, and he kicks her off, takes the thing out. He just looks at her going, "Really? Woman?" It drops the thing. He gets on the edge of the roof himself, and I'm sorry, Blu-ray, once again, showing me the details. The cape drops to reveal that very impressive wingspan, which is the
Yeah.
equivalent to the bat glider, how the cape can just shape shift into being a gliding device. So, which at the time when the movie first came out, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
'cause
but
it's-
here you could see the framework.
yeah, and also you can see the little string that's holding the gliding part up a little bit. So it's like,
Really?
oops. Yeah, if you
Some things are
especially
not
if
made
you
for
jump,
Blu-ray.
if you jump on it, if you see him jump, you pause it, you'll see it. Trust me.
Okay.
So, interestingly enough, Catwoman didn't actually want to kill Miss Gotham. She actually wanted to just scare her. And Penguin said, "Well, she looked pretty scared to me." And Officer Champagne,
Point taken.
huh?
Point taken.
I mean, yeah, he's not lying. So, Penguin tries to romantically advance with Catwoman. He offers her like an engagement ring, a very expensive engagement ring and everything. And he's just like, "I'm Bush, you can come work, stay with me, come with me." And then Catwoman says, "I'm gonna touch you to scratch you." And Penguin is just like, "You're sending out the signals." I'm sitting here going, "You're sending me out confusing signals too, Penguin, because I don't know whether to feel bad for you or whether like I'm gonna kick you off the roof too." So once again, confusion. So Penguin wraps the parasol copter around her neck and activates the mechanism, sending her flying, which I thought was it was graphic, but it was pretty neat. I will say it was a very excellent shot, and especially when Penguin see Penguin on the edge going, "Fly, goodbye, my dear, go to heaven." He's very eloquent with that as well. And Catwoman, of course, escapes from the parasol copter and falls into a dead garden where she's
Like a little rooftop
greenhouse, and she screams bloody murder yet again, and the glass shatters and everything else. Me as a kid watching that for the first time, that scared the living daylights out of me because it was just the high pitched sound.
Oh,
it was just the shrill. It was just it still gets me to this. I was just like, oh god, screaming. Anyway, so Batman gets off the rooftop. He's landed near his Batmobile, and of course we see the famous one camera shot, pan back to audience, or pan back to the mob, then pan back to his cape being perfectly normal again, what have you. So then he gets into the car, tries to escape, but then Penguin chimes in going, "Hi, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take control of your car now. Enjoy your ride." So of course, I love his actual line that he says too. "Gentlemen, start your screaming," and he just makes the car just automatically go, no stops or anything. So,
Running
Penguin
over people.
yeah, running over people, running over cars, especially when the Batmobile gets into that middle street lane. The camera's panning back, and it's just the cars are just going all over towards the sides. They're just like flip, 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 flip. I thought that was very well choreographed too. So, and of course, Penguin is feeding him his prideful lines. He's like, "You got to admit, I play this stinking city like a harp from hell." And Batman is recording this. He gives himself a couple of minutes to like compose himself, puts the recording in since he's got a moment with the Penguin in his true animalistic nature. And he's ripping the interior apart to find this device. Of course, the Batmobile says, "Here, idiot," to which he punches through the floor, grabs the thing, crushes it, which again throws Penguin into a frenzy, which Batman's, I don't know how he has all this strength in his hand.
Watching
Punches
Penguin.
through. Yeah, and Penguin's just like, and also not to mention the fact that it goes back out of the caravan, and it's kind of
Thing's
like
rocking.
flopping back and forth. It doesn't help the fact that people are walking by it too, and they're just kind of like, "What the hell's going on here?" So, yeah, there we go. That's the PG-13 rating for you. So, okay, let me check my notes here. Man, and he does manage to escape with I want to call this the second Bat Pod.
Yeah.
Because I want to count the Robin Bat Pod from the 66 Batman as the first
Yeah.
Bat Pod. So this is technically the Bat. Funny enough,
The core of the vehicle and it just
the core. Yeah. Funny enough, Mattel, when they were making the toys for this, they actually call it the Bat Missile. Because the way that it's shaped and
Yeah.
everything. So they call it the Bat Missile. But again, I call it the second Bat Pod. So, of course, we pan now back to Penguin doing his politics thing. He's very upset that Batman didn't lose an eye, bladder control, Penguin's humor, it's very...
Very Danny DeVito.
Yeah, it's very Danny DeVito. Very Danny DeVito. So, Penguin thinks he has the city under his flipper, of course, because his next... I had to. He thinks he has the city under his control, because now that he has won the people... He has won the people greatly, and... Of course, Bruce Wayne and Alfred are watching the speech on television, and of course that's when you brought in that quote of, we can't just bring the Batmobile to any Joe's body shop. And I love this. Bruce Wayne goes, "Really? who brought in Vicky Vale into the Batcave? I was sitting there working, going, "Oh, hi, Vic. Yeah, come on in." I just love Keaton's response to that. It's like, I call that the Bat glare, because he just glares at Alfred, going, "Really, you brought my ex-girlfriend into the Batcave, and you're lucky I did fire you at that point." So Batman takes the most interesting elevator down to the Batcave, which is his sarcophagus, the needles and everything, which that brings in another joke as well. Batman looks at it and goes, "You ready?" And Alfred goes, "I think I'll take the stairs."
The Iron Maiden.
The Iron Maiden, yes, that's the name. So Bruce Wayne lands, Alfred's coming down the stairs, they get onto their they get onto the Bat computer, and they put the disc in. This is when CDs were being first introduced too, funny enough.
It was a few years after.
A few years, yeah. The CDs were put into the computer, and of course they figure out a neat trick with frequency and radio signals that they can intercept it, hack into it, because this is the first time we actually truly get to see this in action. I guess, from what I could tell from the movie, they took this technology from the Joker, or whatever was left from the Joker, and they just applied it to their tools and gadgets and what have you. So, fun fact. Why not? So, of course, I call Bruce Wayne on this one DJ Wayne, because he was, he's got the headphones on, he's typing in the computer, and he's playing the feedback from the Batmobile onto the speakers. Just relax, okay? And then, Penguin is being exposed for what he truly is, and then all of a sudden he does the...
He starts scratching.
Yeah, he does the scratch with the CD, and it's funny. It's silly, but it's funny.
It's silly, yeah.
And then, of course, Penguin is exposed. People people are hating the Penguin now. And, of course, there's another funny line. Why is there always someone that brings eggs and tomatoes to a speech? And, of course, the prop umbrella that shot blanks does not shoot blanks anymore. It shoots real bullets, and he's Tommy gunned the whole place. And Penguin escapes back through the Gotham Park to where he was dropped off the first time from his parents, and now instead of being abandoned by the parents this time, he's being abandoned by the city, and he drops back into the bridge. They always say go back to your roots to remember who you are, but that's kind of taking it to the extreme here. Let's see. Confusion again over Cathar. Again, this is where I started to have that confusion again, because Penguin has been, has had this very aggressive behavior, aggressive manners, animalistic, what have you. I know I've been saying it many times, but also the fact is that the music is very somber, very slow, very, feel bad for this character. But why should I feel bad for this character? He has not given me enough to say, okay, maybe he didn't mean it. So we'll get to those in later discussions with later Batman films. So Penguin is now back to being Penguin. He's no longer accepting Oswald Cobblepot as his name. He's now going back to Penguin. I am an animal, cold-blooded, crank the AC, where are my lists, and all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So Penguin officially begins his plan to kidnap every firstborn child in Gotham and drown them into the sewer. Now, here's where I get a little ticked about this plan. I mean, yeah, I can understand that makes him a really, really evil person. Kidnap the children, drown them in the sewer. Gotcha. But didn't the parents do everything to him? The adults and everything? Wouldn't it make more sense to kidnap the parents of the kids and then raise the kids himself, so that way he can make his own Gotham City the way he sees fit by expanding the Red Triangle Circus, rather than taking the kids and killing them himself? Would that make more sense?
He wants to punish the parents of Gotham.
Punish the parents. I get that.
For the sins of his parents.
I get that. But would it make more sense to get the parents first, then the kids?
No, because then they have to live with their loss.
Well, no, that's a good way of pointing it too. Okay, so good point. So
I know.
Of course,
Let's do what I can.
Good enough for now. I know we got a set time for this episode, so we can make
by the way,
we can make a whole episode.
We're only 30 minutes into the movie.
No, we're not. Dude, we're 3/4 of the way. Don't listen to him. Okay. Yes.
3 minutes.
This is what I work with every day.
Continue.
Anyway. All right. So the
Didn't know you were having a sleepover, did you?
Okay, so Max Shrek is actually was originally about to throw a ball for the accomplishments that Cobblepot and Shrek have done together. Of course, Penguin messes up the whole speech and everything thanks to Batman. So now it's just become a regular masquerade ball saying, "Hey, I was with you guys the whole time. Did not realize Penguin was a crook as well." Which was funny because his costume represented the Illuminati symbol, the triangle with the not triangle, pyramid with the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one that's
All-seeing eye.
the all-seeing eye. So he's like the one behind the scenes. So it's interesting too that Max Shrek he says that he is Gotham's twisted soul too. So it's like, okay, greed, corruption, politics. Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of interesting. Bruce and Selina find each other once more. Bruce is at the ball really for Selina. Selina was actually there for Max, but not in the way that Bruce thinks. Bruce thinks that Selina and Max are having a relationship, and Selina she literally laughs it off. It just doesn't laugh it off, but just cackles royale, pulls out a gun from her,
just right there on the desk
from her dress, and she's just like waving it around, going, "Nope, this and Max." And Bruce is just like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" He's like trying to hide it. So of course, once again, they're having the slow dance, and Bruce is literally trying to calm Selina down before she does anything reckless. We've lost Tyler.
Tyler's going to bed.
Okay. Do we need to...
No, keep going.
Keep going? Okay. Interesting.
Keep going.
All right.
Come on.
Okay. So, Penguin comes back once again. This time, he's now back to his disheveled animal, penguin self. So, but before then, Bruce and Selina find out about each other. They're doing that little dance, and they look up, they see the mistletoe, they say each other's lines.
Yeah, from earlier.
They switch swap.
And that's when the light bulbs go on.
Yes, and I love it how Selina says, "Do we start fighting now?" Like she doesn't just go into action. Like she is concerned because she does have feelings for Bruce, but
as Catwoman, she has feelings for Batman.
Yeah. So she's very confused, and she does look heartbroken too, because she doesn't want to, but if this is the way it's gotta go, it's gotta go. So this brings up the interesting aspect of duality within the characters. Very subtle, but it's so good. Of course, again, Penguin crashes the party. It's just an explosion of epic proportions. Like I said, Penguin, the Joker would be proud of the Penguin because of all the theatrical explosions and throwing people as debris and everything.
Right.
And of course, the soundtrack, the moment that the Penguin was rising and the soundtrack just like swells to the Penguin's return as well. It's just so cool. It's very haunting, but it's very cool. So Penguin gets off the dock, and of course we are given a foreshadowing of the Penguin army with the rockets and the helmet hats and everything else. Kind of interesting.
Most of those were real.
Most of those were real.
Really?
No kidding.
They had, I think it was like 200 or more real penguins that were.
Oh my god. I think the ones in the duck, though, I think those were mechanical, animatronic. Or I think there were people
were a
in
handful
suits.
of animatronic,
Yeah.
and then the bigger ones the king penguins were actually people in suits.
Yeah. Because I was sitting there watching the aquarium, like the seas, and they're like, okay, that's a real penguin, animatronic, real person. I was just, having a little fun trivia. I was watching the movie. So, rather than taking Chip, because originally Penguin does announce his plan to take the firstborn children and drown them into the sewer, kill them, and Penguin said he made it personal to make sure he grabs Max Shrek's son, Chip, which we've barely seen in this movie for the whole time.
It's like at the very beginning, and then
It
not
just-
very much
kinda
else.
annoying.
Yeah, he really. Dad, go save yourself. I mean, that's how he talked. So, truly,
Sounded like naked, greasy, deaf guy on.
that's so weird.
To save yourselves. Gotta catch me first.
See you next time. So, okay.
Oh,
So now Bruce Wayne, of course, disappears, and Selina Kyle's trying to look for him. And Max Shrek makes a deal: look, don't take Chip, take me, because I'm the one that duped you over, and I'm the one that took
Right.
advantage of your position here. Why don't you just take me instead? And Penguin's like, okay, fair, you got a point. So Max Shrek is now in his own huge humanized equivalents of a birdcage in the sewer, and Penguin is revealing how he's gonna charm the kids and then dump them into the river. Of course, we see the friendly kid circus parasol thing that just kind of twirls around, and of course we have the music box music going off in the background too, showing the demented, childlike side of Penguin. So, circus is going around kidnapping children around Gotham City. Of course, very quick, very short. Batman stops it. So Batman saves the day. Batman sends the caretaker's monkey back to Penguin with a note saying that the children regretfully will not attend. This sends Penguin into a foaming frenzy. Unlike the Joker, who gets upset, punches the TV, what have you, or like takes his anger out on his cohorts, Penguin is very aggressive. So, not calm, not cool, not collective. He's just very like aggressive, very like, I'm gonna get this done. So Penguin launches his next plan, which is to destroy Gotham City completely with the help of his army of penguins.
Yeah.
No, I kid you not. Yeah, we had the exploding octopus. We have exploding sharks, and now we have missile launching penguins. I am not making this stuff up, though I wish I was. So, which I made the quote of March of the Penguins much. So, quite literally, March of the Penguins. So, but Penguin does give a very beautiful speech to the Penguins because Danny DeVito does a really excellent job with the character. I mean, he delivers those lines so passionately. It's not just verbose, but it's very passionate too, because it's like you feel the emotion behind those lines. It's like, dude, yeah, let's go blow them sky high. Yeah, and of course Danny Elfman with the soundtrack, with the military march, and then swapping back and forth between the Penguins theme and the Batman theme, and the Batman theme is being more triumphant because it's Batman coming to save the day in the Bat-Sub, and it's just it's very subtle with the action, but it's also very epic in terms of the emotion behind it too, because these Penguins are fastly approaching the city. They're popping out of the sewers left and right, and they're marching with this equipment on
this one intersection.
One destination, yeah. And they're just gonna shoot these missiles up into the air, and wherever they land, that's where they're gonna cause the most damage. So, and of course, Penguin, not Penguin, excuse me, but Batman does eventually reach the zoo in his Bat-Sub, which we've talked about the sewers being so nice and spatial. It's like if we could fit a Bat-Sub in there, which we did. So, and it does all the neat little tricks it does. It speeds up, goes in circles, everything else, dodges missiles, all that fun stuff. So, Penguin is now abandoned again because the radio signal is forcing the Penguin army to retreat. The Poodle Lady is announcing everything that's happening at the same time. Interesting choice for her now.
She sounds so sad.
I know. She sounds so very... She's so dramatic. So, and she's...
Very monotone.
Something approaching fast. Very dark. Very fast. And then all of a sudden, like, as the Bat-Sub is approaching, Penguin is abandoned again, which sends...
Everybody leaves him.
Everybody leaves him. Which, that part, I could feel...
Except for a few penguins.
Except for the penguins. But, yeah we're getting there. We're actually near the end. So, better for the last time, Penguin gets on his rubber duck and drives... Roll with it. Drives out of the lair to escape. Because, yes, we were given the hint that it's a boat. That it's been floating on this. It's like a carnival ride for, like one of those water attractions. But then, all of a sudden, it comes out of the water and there are a tank-esque wheels attached to it. It's like, where does this fit? Anyway, but it happened. So, eventually, though, Batman finds out that the duck boat, car, whatever, is leaving the vicinity, which Batman finds a shortcut towards Penguin, quite literally, because Penguin in the duck tank...
Spitting at me again.
Cut that out when you can. So, the Bat-Sub and the duck tank collide, bringing one more battle between the Penguin and Batman, because then they have this little quip about, you're just a freak, and you're just a guy in a mask, I'm a genuine freak, Yeah. But the question comes to is who's holding the umbrella. Of course, he flips the blade. Batman, his magnetized utility belt once again reveals the gadget that he needs for that moment. Pulls out the sequencer, or I guess it's the the sequencer, yeah. And he looks around his vicinity to give Penguin the idea of, hey, look around. His Penguin army they're all around them. So, and Penguin, sure enough, is bringing once again into a foaming frenzy, saying, my babies, tries to attack Batman. Of course, Batman's more calm, more cool. He's keeping himself together. Penguin does get the remote detonator in time, and when he clicks the button, though, yes, the Penguins do activate their missiles, but at the same time, though, the same bats that were used to kill Miss Gotham were activated from the bat sub and sends Penguin down through the lair, through the window, crashing through, back into the water. So, missiles are going off, fires, there's literally hellfire going around the zoo, the Gotham Zoo. In the chaos, Max does escape eventually, and he's only to be caught yet again by Catwoman. So, interestingly enough, there is a gun that was placed in the water by one of the clown henchmen. I guess it was on his person when he was shot. We forgot to talk about the big clown guy that said, killing children. Isn't that a little off? A little
Well, he
evil?
didn't have to worry about it.
Well, yeah, he didn't worry about it because Penguin killed him, shot him, kicked him into the thing, kicked him into the water. So Max does pick up the gun. He's trying to fight off the whip that Selina Kyle used to make Max trip into the water. So Batman does his best, though. He sees Selina Kyle and Max down in the lair. So Batman does his best to go down and talk some sense into Selina Kyle, trying to bring her to the good side of the superheroes. Like, hey, don't kill him. It's not a bad thing. Yes, I killed a couple of people, but they were accidents. So
this scene, though, you've got Selina, her mask is torn.
yes,
Her hair is hanging out from underneath. And when Batman refers to her as Selina Kyle,
yeah.
you have Max Schreck who gets this look of surprise on his face. Like, you couldn't tell.
Not to mention that they were talking too, and he's like, "I gave at the office."
Yeah.
She's like, "Nope, die for a die."
Yeah.
It would have registered it to him now that it was Selina Kyle.
Yeah.
With the So, but yeah, well. So, and of course, the revealing is very much revealing because he has all that black eyeshadow to make the impression that there's a shadow underneath the mask. But of course, when he's about to do the reveal, there's no eyeshadow whatsoever. Makes little to no sense, but there you go. And also, there's like a little snip where the mask is, so that way when he does take it off, it just rips completely off. So Batman reveals who he is. It helps Selina kind of calm down a little bit, but she just reverts right back to saying, "Nope, this is not going to be a fairy tale ending."
Right.
Sorry to say. And back then in the 90s, this was kind of a thing. Because almost every movie, even the Addams Family, ended on a happily ever after. Whereas Selina Kyle's looking at this going,
Well, you couldn't
No.
put those two together in a happily ever after.
no. But,
You could
Gotta
put
give-
them together and be happy tonight.
yeah. You gotta give Bruce some credit, though. So, he does say, I like this line, too, that he says to Selina. He says, we're the same. Split right down the center. It's a good way to connect and everything. But, of course, everything falls apart. Selina says, nope, I would rather be myself than, be with you. Of course, Batman gets clawed by Selina in the face, and then Max Schreck is going, why are you dressed up as Batman? And then Catwoman says, because he's Batman, you moron. And Max goes, shoots him, and of course, he's not really dead, but, he's a little knocked out from the shot.
Right. No headshot in this, though.
No, that'd be too easy.
So,
Not personal.
I also like to say obvious mask reveal is obvious because of the eyeshadow being removed. So, of course, Batman's down for the count. He's knocked out, so it just leaves Selina and Max. Max shoots Selina repeatedly, trying to knock her down, but of
He
course...
shoots her 4 times?
Yeah, she got shot 4 times.
Yeah.
She'd already used 2, because she's counting her lives. She'd
Yeah.
already used 2 lives. Right?
3.
Was it
First
3?
time with Max Schreck, second time with Batman, third time with Penguin.
Yeah, so she'd used 3. He shoots her 4.
And
And then she says it's 2 left. I'm good with 1 till at least next year.
yeah,
And that's when she...
uses the taser
Uses
that she
the
got
taser.
from the beginning part of the movie, and then
Call
electrocutes
back.
Max Schreck. Yeah, and of course we get one more pity shot of the Penguin that we're supposed to say, oh, I feel bad for the guy, feel bad for the guy, feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, I'm confused. I don't know how to feel for this guy. I mean, yeah, it's sad, it's depressing, but I don't he was a bad guy. He was evil. I can't feel catharsis for this guy. So, Bruce gets up eventually and he tries to assess the damage too, which I thought this is a really good shot too, that he's pulling all this debris out, finds Max Schreck, of course, the whole skeletal thing. The skeleton comes back again, this time in the form of Max Schreck, and he's just shuffling around, but then he just hears a subtle sound of the Penguin going into his parasol thing, stops, but it's like you could, and then he turns around to look at Penguin, and like you could see the Batman without the mask within Keaton, which I thought was an amazing shot. So it's like it kind of gives you an idea of what Keaton would look like with the mask on. So I thought that was very well done. Of course, Penguin does his. He opens up the parasol, turns out to be the kitty one, drops it. He's having a moment of like trying to like gather what just happened, but at the same time he's just wanting a cool glass of water and drops dead.
Yeah.
So and then of course the only true family he really did have were the Penguins, which I guess was supposed
And
to
they
be.
take him to the water.
And they buried him in the water where they found him the first time. So I thought that scene, the scene alone was pretty tragic. The scene alone was pretty sad. But at the same time, though, the whole mix match personalities, emotions throughout the whole thing it wasn't enough for the whole thing to make me feel pity for the Penguin at all. It's just, I know there were like villains that we could be like, yeah, I can understand that. Okay, that makes sense. This one, I was like, can you make up your mind? Where do you want to be? So, of course, I said Elfman in the soundtrack too, because it's just chills again. So, Alfred eventually finds Bruce, and they try to return him home. And, as I said, not one of Batman's best victories, but the villains are stopped.
Yeah.
So, he lost a suit, he got injured, he did save Shrek, Penguin's dead, Selena Kyle's missing, but a pretty good day at the office. He did save Gotham. So, and that's the other thing, too, because that there were really no personal stakes for him on this one, either. I mean, Selena...
he cared about Selena.
He cared about Selena, but not so much that he was about to, like, jump off a building for her. I mean, he did try to talk to her, but it's like it didn't work.
He took a bullet.
I don't think he had a choice. He did well, and that's the thing too. He didn't really dodge to take the bullet. He just like no one took the bullet for anybody. He just got shot. That was it. So, yeah, as I said, there's really no change for Bruce. There was no change. There was no personal stakes. There was just he did his job. That was it.
Yeah.
There's no conflict with the duality. No, there's like, am I making things better? Am I making things worse?
Right.
So on and so forth. So things to think about. He does, however, believe he sees Catwoman in the alley, but just finds an abandoned black cat, which could be Miss Kitty from the apartment. So he does pick up the cat. He does take the cat as a memento as Selena, because Batman does have this habit of keeping mementos from fast villains.
Right. So the serial killers.
So
Yeah, but to each their own, I guess.
everybody's gotta have a hobby with their hobby. So, and of course, Alfred says the lines "Come with me," because he can sense Bruce's emotions and his and how his body posture, his movements, and everything. So Alfred just says, "Come with me, Merry Christmas," and they say, Alfred and Bruce says, "Merry Christmas to men and women too," and of course this is the thing too, the ending of the movies too. You see the bat signal, you see Batman staring up to the signal, but this time around you see Catwoman staring off into the bat signal too. Great cinematography, but at the same time brings the question of, did we focus on the wrong person in this movie?
Well, that wasn't the original ending. They were gonna end with
Again?
They were gonna end with Bruce and Alfred, and when they tested it, the audiences weren't happy.
Really?
They were down. They didn't like the way the movie ended. So that's not Michelle Pfeiffer in the cat suit.
This
At
is
the
somebody.
end. It's somebody, because they had to shoot that really quickly, and they couldn't get her back. There was no reason to. They weren't going to show her face, so that Catwoman lived.
Huh.
Because fans wanted somewhat of a
That makes sense.
Well,
Well, she said she was going to save one life for the next Christmas.
yeah.
So
So that's the end of Michael Keaton.
that is the end of
That's the
Batman
end
Returns.
Michael Keaton as Batman.
Now, Tim Burton didn't do the other ones, did he?
No.
He produced Forever.
Okay.
But he was completely out by the time Batman and Robin came out.
Yeah.
Very
for him.
smart.
He produced.
Yeah.
Well, guys, the only thing left is the
Lord.
rankings. And our rankings are as follows. As number 1, we have Batman 1989. Number 2, Batman 66. Chris, where is your numeric ranking and what is your grade rating for this movie?
Really good flick. Like you said, the end of Michael Keaton as Batman. Loved the cast. It's a great cast.
Another great cast.
It's just... It's a shade below Batman for me.
Yeah.
So I got to give it a 7.
All right. Letter grade?
7 out of 10. That's right in the B- wheelhouse. So
Okay.
I'll give it the same letter grade.
Jack?
Okay, as much as I loved the first Batman 1989, this one, I liked it, but I didn't really... It's one of those I could pick up and watch whatever I want to, but at the same time, I don't have to pick it up and watch it. I could just, just because it's part of the Tim Burton universe, and this is something that ended on, like, what, future installments of what could have been, but it doesn't. So, like I said, after watching it so many times ever since I first got it, and now I'm seeing it with different eyes, I'm seeing it that maybe Tim Burton kind of had a different focus on what we wanted to see, and that he just didn't advertise it that well. Because it's Batman Returns, yes, but we're focusing so much on Penguin, so much on Catwoman, so much on Max Schreck. There wasn't a lot of time for us to be like, well, what's the significance to Batman returning if he never left at all? Because he's, the movie's back, yes, the sequel's here, but it never felt like Batman ever left, because it's peaceful in Gotham, everything's fine up until... Also, the other thing, too, we never really truly find out what happens with the whole big frame for that crime. Did he get let go? What happened?
If it's peaceful in Gotham, there's no need for Batman to be out and about. So he's returning to protecting Gotham.
I mean,
because there's a new threat.
That's why he's brooding in his manner.
I mean, that's what... I guess that's...
Bored.
I'm bored. Do something. But it's still not enough to make me say that, he's back. He's returned. Unlike the future Heath Ledger movie. Like, the movies that we're going to talk about with Christopher Nolan. And... everything else.
Can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. But for me, for this rating scale, I enjoyed it, but it's not as memorable as I was hoping it to be. So, I mean, there were some excellent scenes, excellent cinematography.
So you're not giving this a 9 out of 10?
No, it's not. 89's a classic. We got to admit to that. So, this one honestly does get a 7 out of 10 for me. And this does get a B. I agree with Chris. This does get a B-. It's just... It's good, but there's just so much more potential for
What
it.
say you, Tyler?
Well, my thing is, 89 was better, in my opinion. The whole movie, we talked about the whole movie. It did not focus on Batman enough for my liking. But that's just me. And I'm not a Batman fan, but I wanted more Batman in the movie. That's kind of weird to me. I liked Selena Kyle's introduction. Penguin was cool. Danny DeVito was great. Different Penguin story than what I like. I love the classic, Gotham TV show Penguin. I love that gangster-esque feel type thing.
There's never been a really bad Penguin.
No.
Mm-mm.
I mean, Burgess Meredith was a different version, but it was
But still good.
Oh, no, still good. Good for its time.
Wonderful
for its time.
So all in all, I want to put this one as a 6.5 for me.
There you go.
I ranked the other one as a 7. So I want to say
Just a
6.5.
shade below.
Yeah, and I'll say B for this one. I mean, it was good, but not as good as Batman 1989.
I mean, there's so much potential, but it's
So you got
it falls short.
20.5.
That's the one. So our ranking is now as followed. Number 1, Batman 1989. Number 2, Batman Returns. Number 3, Batman 66.
66
sorry,
just
Adam.
keeps-
Do we think we're gonna find something lower than Batman 66?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
we are.
I'm-
And I
I'm
have to do
trying
the
to-
synopsis on both of these
I'm
things.
trying to keep an open mind.
Yeah, I know I am because
Going into my rewatch.
I'm trying.
it's been a long time since I've watched the next two.
I mean, I will keep an open mind. I'm looking at this from a critic's point of view now, and it's not just a
think-
fan's point of view.
I
So
think
it's
for the next two, I think what we're looking at is, with 66, it was intentionally campy.
Yeah.
this one's having an identity crisis, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
The next two are probably not in that same boat.
Well, everyone, that is it for this week. Don't forget, if you are watching along, our next movie is Batman Forever. Who's Batman? Batman Forever.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
Mm-hmm.
So We'll get there, guys. We'll see if that movie is better or worse than this one, and we'll put it up in our official rankings. But until then, if you can follow each of our works, you can follow Jack's video game reviews on nerdwide.com. It will be on the front pages. You can easily catch them each and every week. And you can tune into Our Hero Craving weekly episodes with Chris and I on podcasting services around the world. You can follow me on Twitter at Ty_Haynes and Chris at MavTN7. Or if you just want to follow the Nerdwide page, it is at Nerd_Wide. But guys, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel where we do put up the visual representation of this episode. But guys, until next week, Heroes of Villains, where we'll rank Batman forever. I just looked at each other.